Nothing can describe what it feels like for a mother to stand at the grave of her child. There are also the things that will never happen for me now that he's gone. Up next, man. There was a recent, I don't want to say event because that's not it, a verdict that happened in the case of Christian Obumseli. Do you remember that case? It was a young black man that was dating a white girl, OnlyFans girl, whatever. And she was abusive to him. Let me not lead the listener. They were in a relationship, and the end result was this young lady killing this 27-year-old black man.
I remember that.
You said what? Say that again.
Yeah,
Say that again, Crush.
No, I remember that.
Okay, yeah, it was in 2022. She killed him in the elevator of in their Miami high rise, and she was charged with second-degree murder, which is she stabbed him to death, and she was charged with second-degree murder, which carries up to 30 years in prison.
Get that.
Now, to be precise, the trial and all of that already happened.
Yeah.
What recently happened a day or two ago was actually the sentencing. Okay. So the state's attorney's office said that the plea was reached in full consultation and approval of Christian's family. That is the prosecutor's characterization that she was basically the aggressor in this. What ultimately ended up happening is that she was given 6 years in prison with time served. So she's been in since 2022, and she's been sentenced to 6 years in prison. So that means she could be getting out in a year and a half, 2 years time. Part of me wants to be outraged that this chick, after all of the evidence showing that she was an abusive partner, showing all of the things that this young man went through being in this relationship with this white girl, and then ultimately for it to cause his death. But then I had to take a step back and look at myself and say, not that the family's not grieving. I want to make sure I'm very clear about that. But that they were willing to co-sign. They co-signed this to say that they were okay with this young lady getting the sentencing that she got. This was handed down to her in, once again, I want to read the quote verbatim, in full consultation and approval of Christian's family. So the question becomes, do we have the right to be outraged when the family seems like they are not outraged? I'm going to let Crush go first, and then L, you can pick it up from me.
Yeah, I am mystified. I can't see my family taking that stance if such a thing ever happened to me. If anyone I knew went through something like this, it's too hard not to feel some frustration and anger towards this. I'm just bewildered. I'm bewildered at where they could find forgiveness in a situation that they clearly saw from beginning to end, or at least saw large parts of in play, and to see it end this way, I'm just bewildered. But I mean, if the family, I don't know.
One little tidbit, and I haven't seen anything to confirm it definitively, but in other articles that I've been reading, it said that the family filed a civil lawsuit and that money had been moved to the family before. So apparently a civil lawsuit was filed on December 3rd of 2025 against Clenney. That's the young lady's name. Mm-hmm. But part of it was dismissed, and then they followed up again in March of 2026. So I don't know if in fact monies were given to Christian's family. But with that in mind, it kind of taints my perspective. And this is the reason why. It taints my perspective. If they did get monies, then in full consultation said that they agreed with this I don't even know what to call it, because that 6 years for taking someone's life is crazy work. But here's his mother, a quote from his mom, Christian's mom. She said in court during the sentencing, "Nothing can describe what it feels like for a mother to stand at the grave of her child. There are also the things that will never happen for me now that he's gone." And I'm listening to and reading this statement, and I'm thinking whether or not money's exchanged hands. And on top of if money's exchanged hands, the fact that they were in full I can't overstate it, in full consultation and approval of this lady getting 6 years. Time served.
Now to an update, the family of Christian Obumseli is speaking out one day after his girlfriend, OnlyFans model Courtney Clenney, announced she will take a plea deal in his killing.
The family of Christian Obumseli have been grieving their son's death since April 2022. Through their attorney, they released a statement about Clenney's decision to take a plea deal in the court. His family's attorney released a statement Saturday that says, "I am pleased to announce the defendant Courtney Clenney, the state, and the Obumseli family has reached a resolution that would avoid an unnecessary trial." It goes on to say, the resolution will be made public at a sentencing hearing on August 10th at 10 a.m. Pleading guilty and accepting full responsibility will begin the process of bringing closure to a very tragic, life-changing event for the Obumseli family. This comes one day after Clenney's since August 2022 in connection with the April 3rd, 2022 death of Christian Obumseli at the Miami apartment she rented. This video shows an alleged confrontation in an elevator between the pair 2 months before Obumseli's death. Evidence released since Clenney's arrest has painted a troubling relationship between the couple. I reached out to the...
L, your thoughts, bro?
I think there's a key aspect that we're missing here, that I want the listeners who are not familiar with this case to realize that this was not a one-off incident. She had a history of aggressive, aggravated behavior towards Christian, a documented aggressive, aggravated behavior towards Christian. So this is not as if this was a one-off and they were being, somewhat generous or forgiving by not allowing her to get the full 30. I am not surprised by this. This is something that we see more often than we realize, particularly when Black folks get in this situation when we're the victim, that there's a level of forgiveness that we offer to those who have victimized us. There's been a number of police-involved shootings where the families have come out and pushed for more lenient sentences for the killer of their family members. This is, unfortunately, doesn't get as much news and much popularity as some of the other things that take place in this regards. So I'm not surprised. I am wildly disappointed because she didn't just stab this man one time. She stabbed him repeatedly. She killed him. She deserved to get the full sentence underneath what she was charged. And the fact that she got 6 and not 30 with time served, right? Like, she didn't get 15, she didn't get 18, she didn't get 20, she got 6 with time served. So essentially, she's going to have, probably with good behavior, 1.5 years, she'll be out. Right. So the civil case is another dynamic of this, which I'm sure when people hear the civil case, it brings up some red flags and the potential of, hey, if we win this civil case and we get this bag over here, we're more than willing to tell the judge as part of the plea, because in plea cases like this, the victims' families do have some say. Right? They're not the ultimate determining factor of whether the charges or the sentence gets lowered, but judges tend to take the victim's family into account in these moments. So it's a weird case. I thought it was weird in the beginning. I was heartbroken. This young brother involved with somebody who already had a shady background. Not even talking about her sex work, but just some of her other behavior. To find him in this situation, I think is tragic. I'm gonna be honest. The first thing I did when I read this article is I scanned the article and other articles looking to see if there was some words that the family said in regards to forgiveness. Like, were they using their personal family's theology to push for this? I immediately looked for
I remember that. Remember that whole Botham John when the police officer came in and killed him, and the family.
Yep, same type of ordeal, man. I was looking for that to see if that was present. I didn't see it. There wasn't a whole bunch of things that from the family or only from the mom, and there's only clips. It's a really sad situation. But in this case, the way our legal system is set up. But the other side would be also, right, that if the legal system didn't have this plea component in, we're typically the ones on the other side, right? We're the ones who usually are facing the sentence.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? So in this particular,
statistics say that about 95% of all cases end in a plea deal anyway.
And there's a reason why. There's a huge financial component to it.
Right? You said 95%?
95% is it's high.
Overwhelming, huge. Very few cases actually go to a sitting trial. There's a plea bargain made somewhere in between. Yeah, dude, I'm trying to tell you.
And it's really difficult.
So
it's really difficult to win a trial.
I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at some more. I was digging into this plea deal, and it says that the civil case was settled. Was sealed in March.
Yeah,
the civil case was settled and sealed in March. 5 months before. Sealed. That's the biggest thing that's been that red flag for me was sealed 5 months before the plea was made. So I'm going to ask you: does money change what a family can want? And I'm going to
yes,
clearly. Yes.
It can change what the family want. I'll say it can, and it does. Do I think it should? I would use my own family. No, it wouldn't change. Right? It wouldn't change what they wanted. They would want justice. She would have got the full 30. She probably would have made it to trial. You know what I mean? But for some families, depending on what their outlook is, what their family needs is, those types of things, we live in a capitalist society, man, where everything is for sale. Like, I don't know the finer details of this particular family. I mean, they could have somebody sick who needs medical care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know what the background of his.
I don't know how much money this chick was worth. How much they actually got from her.
I mean, there's usually terms and clauses along with these settlements. So I'm just.
We'll never know.
I'm just surprised that they would be. I'm just surprised the family would be amenable to any extraneous or explicit terms attached to the settlement.
I say the same thing all the time. I don't know what my number is. That's something I always ask myself. My guy, what is your number? Because I think we all have one.
Everybody got a number. I don't care what is your,
no matter how radical, no matter how, for the people you are, what is your number?
Yeah. That's facts. Now, let me ask you guys this, man. Christian was a Nigerian American.
Sure.
And if you remember when this case first popped off, there were a lot of people that didn't have any real sympathy for Christian, to be honest, because not only besides being a black man, and sometimes when the victim is a black man, people look at it a little bit differently, but also because he had a history apparently on social media of
being anti-black towards
being anti-black and all of that stuff. So I'm going to ask you guys the question: would this story hit different if he wasn't Nigerian American? If he was an African American?
I don't think it would hit differently. And largely, I don't think it would hit differently. We're not in control of the media apparatus. Like we're not in control to put these stories out. These folks put out what they want. We don't have a independent black media that is on the level of Fox News that can put out this type of stuff in a way that would generate and garner the necessary attention that some of the other ones do, right? But I think it also leads us to ask the question, why do other news networks put out these particular stories, right? Are they putting the stories out because they're looking for justice, or is there a level of capital that they can get out of it?
They know.
Do I think it would be different if he was Black American? I'm sure probably for some people who get caught up in the color wars that are taking place only
or the
online,
diaspora
largely.
wars. The
diaspora wars largely. I'm sorry. The diaspora wars that, are happening largely online, of course. But do I think that would be a thing? I don't know. I do think that when this did come out, there was a lot of Black women who were up in arms when his old past history. Now that wasn't it wasn't a lot of recent stuff of him being anti-Black towards Black women, right? The part that I struggle with is that that's no different than what the white supremacists do when one of us are killed.
Yeah.
They bring up our past history. They talk about that there's no distinction there.
Mike Brown was a constant delinquent at school. That's why he deserved to be beaten up and shot in the street.
Was, I mean, so I we fall into those same white supremacist traps that are laid out there that they do. And I struggle with that. I understood what Black women are saying, because I think there is a level of anti-Blackness that is aimed solely at Black women. I don't think that we should be taking a African approach across the board just because of one outlier. It's dangerous to do that.
Even now, as I'm seeing the results of the sentencing online, the conversation has unfortunately been in some circles, oh well, that nigga was African.
Yeah, and he was with a white woman.
Yeah. Oh well, he was with a white girl. Like, he deserved what he got. You mess with him, you know what I'm saying? So
and that's I think that is horrible white supremacist, anti-Black rhetoric that is dangerous. I don't care if a Black person is sleeping with a non-Black person. That doesn't mean they should be killed by that non-Black person. Yeah. I don't care if at one point in time they spouted off some anti-Black, anti-women rhetoric that they should be killed. I don't hold that line. I think there are other things that we can do, but I don't think murder should be the thing that we're looking and cheering for.